This is KTVO's Good Morning Heartland.
And welcome back. We hear of individuals that struggle because of credit card debt, and many wonder if it's even possible to avoid getting into that credit card debt. Well, we have David Bethel, partner with the Financial Planners of Missouri, to break it down for us. How are you doing today?
I'm very well.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us. So, we hear that credit cards can be bad and racking up those credit card debts. But is it even a good idea to even have a credit card?
Well, I think so.
Okay.
First of all, it's a safety factor. If you lost your wallet, any cash would be gone. If you have a credit card, you have little or no liability. Second of all, if you were away from home and there was an emergency, say your car broke down, you needed to get it repaired, they may not accept your check, but they would accept a credit card. And finally, if you're wise about using a credit card, you can really improve your credit rating, and that can actually save you money in a variety of ways.
All right. Go ahead.
Oh, it's also good to use a debit card. Debit card's linked to your bank, and your bank account is the credit card limit or your debit card limit. And if you use your debit card as your first card and a credit card as your backup card, you'll have a lot fewer problems.
All right. So say somebody has a credit card, like myself, and a lot of people, a lot of Americans out there have credit cards, and some of them, for them, they like to build their credit by using their credit card. Now, how can you avoid getting into debt by using that credit card and building your credit?
Well, you're right. It is a good idea to use a card to build credit, but to avoid debt, it's really important to first commit to spending less than you earn. Once you've made that commitment, then the dollars that you're not spending need to set somewhere, and we think they should set in a cash flow savings account. A cash flow savings account is really the same as the savings account you may have at your bank, along with your checking account. But most banks will allow you to automatically transfer funds from your checking account to your savings account. I have mine take $500 at the beginning of the month and move it over to my savings account. Sometimes I have to get part of it back,
right.
But when I don't, I'm able to build my savings account up so that when there's going to be one of those high spending months, I've got money that I can transfer back to my checking account, pay off all my bills, including the full balance of my credit cards.
Interesting. So you recommend having where they automatically transfer just to have that cash flow in case of an emergency, or like you said, you want to buy that big ticket purchase.
And the nice thing about automatically doing that is if you're not naturally inclined to be a saver, it forces you to do something that will help you build that habit.
I like it. That's good advice right there. I need to start doing that. Now let's talk about traps. There's always, those gimmicks that, first 12 months, 0% APR, all that other stuff. What are some traps we should look out for?
Well, there are a number of traps. I'm going to mention four.
Okay.
One, buying something that you want but you don't really need. If you would use the axiom, which is, would I pay cash for this? If you wouldn't pay cash for it, you probably shouldn't buy it. Second, buying something that you need or will need, but you haven't saved up the money for. A lot of people would think, well, I'll make payments and I'll go ahead and buy it right now. Well, take those payments and save them up until you have enough money to buy it in advance. That's always a better strategy. Third, the seduction of the minimum balance.
Right.
When you get a credit card bill, they'll tell you what you need to pay off in full, and they'll also tell you what the minimum amount to pay off is. If you bought an object for, let's say, $1,000 and only made the minimum payment, you may very well pay more in interest than the item cost. And then the other thing I think that's really important to remember is that a credit card is really just an unsecured loan. And an unsecured loan is always going to come with higher interest rates and possibly fees. 10 to 20% is a typical starting point, and if you're ever late or miss a payment, you're going to pay not only fees that drive up your cost, but the interest rates are going to go up from there.
Interesting. So now let's talk about, for those that are already in credit debt, what can they do to avoid getting into deeper debt or getting themselves out of debt?
Well, first you have to decide to stop using your credit card. You can't spend your way out of that kind of a problem. Second, you need a strategy. I think you should consider debt consolidation. If you have equity in a car or a home, you might be able to use that equity to pay off your credit card bill. Now, you haven't paid off your debt, but you have transferred it from an unsecured loan with high interest rate to a secured loan, hopefully with much lower interest rate. If that's not a possibility, then you're going to have to commit to paying it off over time. And then a strategy like picking the card with the highest interest rate and paying extra on it until it's paid off, then go to the one with the next highest interest rate until it's paid off, and so forth.
And that's what I've done. I read somewhere in a financial book that, you know, pay your highest interest rate card off first, and then take whatever you're paying on that card and then add it onto your next card, so you're paying your minimum plus, you know, what you were paying with that, and it kind of doubles and keep going. And then I was able to pay off, I'm not going to say how many credit cards I have, but I was able to pay off 2 credit cards because I did that, and it was really amazing to see, you know, how easily it was able to take that chunk off every month, you know?
I agree, and I think it's the internal reward of having one paid off that is motivating to go ahead and get out of debt.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. This is all valuable information, and what we'll do is we'll post it on our website at heartlandconnection.com, as well as link your information on our website as well. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.